Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal at Krondor. Well, we are currently in the town of Tir Song, right on the border of the Northlands, and we just stopped off after we got into the town and walked through it, but gonna stop off at this shop real quick because Three Hillman Pawn, despite the name, they will not actually buy just anything in our inventory. And despite seeing all of these armors and shields scattered about the shop, they will not actually buy any of our weapons and armor, which is unfortunate because that's mostly what we have to sell. And a little description here. The shop was littered with cast-off, forgotten trinkets, lost items, which few would want or need to reclaim. Here it seemed tarnished and rust were the things that were most prized, the crumbling items to which they clung, of only secondary value. But we can find a few things of note here, including an armorer's hammer, which we do need. Goraf does not have room for it in his inventory. And hey, I actually managed to talk them down on the bargaining. I suppose I forget that I walked 10 leagues through a snowstorm to buy that little item, the shopkeeper grumbled. I mean that I caught pneumonia from my troubles, that's not important. I can give you such a bargain. And we're also going to get, well, actually we can't quite afford that, but maybe get rid of some of the items like the shells that we're carrying. And that brooch might fare a bit. Actually, that brooch gets us quite a bit. So now we can afford to buy a practice loot for Owyn. Can't haggle that one down, unfortunately. But yeah, not much in the way of useful items here, just shells and a shovel, which we do need. Of course, if you offend the shopkeeper, they will refuse to sell to you, but you just exit out, go back in, and we have it right as rain. So that gives us everything that we need for the moment, and just to show I'm not lying, I have no use for such an item. Yes, all the junk in here. I don't need a sword. So, now that we have a shovel, you might remember that last time we passed a graveyard. On the other side of the bridge here. Actually, yes. Baby Arisa, a week she cried before she slept. Yeah, we are not going to dig this one up because, funny thing, when you read the inscription on the grave, it can tell you something of what the person died of or what might actually be in the grave. So, buried without a word, won't be anything useful. Another helping put him 6 feet under. Well, we dig that one up and we find some rations, and shockingly, yep, the rations are poisoned, so that does not do us any good. Aruna in the wilds was the Hadati woman. The Hadati being a race, well, not really a race, more of a culture of Highland-style warriors unique to the Rift War setting. But we did actually come here in search of one particular game, because Paul Dudding, no one knew whence he came or where he went. Well, we dig this one up, and we find a pair of weed walkers. The strange elven footwear was far too dainty to suit his taste. Dyed bright green and trimmed with a thin cord of gold, they're obviously intended to be worn within boots or moccasins. Yes, these are in fact a pair of magical shoes that increase your stealth ability. And ideally, we'll get a set for the whole group to make sneaking around easier, but unfortunately they are quite expensive, at least relative to what we're earning right now. So that's all we need from here. And a quick reshuffling of Owyn's focus, because as I said, you can train up certain skills. But if you're clever and you're paying attention, you can actually focus on certain skills before you do things that would boost them and take full advantage of some of the opportunities you have to train certain skills. And one of the things we can do to train certain skills, in the case of barding, is we can play the practice lute. And we can't hear the music on this, unfortunately. Let's see if I can go into preferences real quick, and I'll turn the music on for a little bit so we can hear it. Oh, an introduction just turns on the music in the introduction screen. Yep, got that. So, Owyn plucked the strings of the practice lute carefully, aware his smallest mistakes were the cause of great grief to others. He could at least say he was learning, however minutely, every time he played the single tune he knew. And thankfully we can just double-click our way through this. Until the lute finally exhausts itself. And we'll give that to Gorath. And yeah, the swords are all in good condition. So I'll go ahead and pass this off onto Owyn real quick. Switch that back to Gorath since he has the bonus on it. And well, that's actually as good as it'll get. Alright, so that covers all of our excess gear issues for the moment. Okay, so let's see, 7, 7, and 5. Well, that's a little bit better, but anyway, you'll note the party abilities have increased, and it is now night, and Owyn's barding skill has now gone up a whole 10 points. Switch back to training those up. Oh, and we can get a full list of all of Owyn's spells on here now. So, last time we found a bunch of scrolls, you might remember. So now we have Flame Cast, which is a fireball spell. To spare thy eyes, the blinding spell that he used to great effect. Invitation, the pull enemies toward you spell. Gift of Sung, that allows you to heal your allies. Candle Glow and Stardusk. Candle Glow allows you to make a light when you're underground or in a building. Stardusk allows you to make light outdoors. And Eyes of Ishap and Scent of Serig, you've already seen. And all the combat spells tend to break down. We've got attack spells, debuff spells, environment spells, defensive spells, things that alter you, and things that alter your environment. And we'll take Lockpick off of there. Though if all goes according to plan, we might get a chance to improve our lockpicking by the time the chapter is done. So, we're at a major crossroads here. From here we can head east and enter into the northern part of the Teeth of the World, heading toward High Castle through Eld Point and Wolfram, and decamp on the Teeth onto Northwarden. And this section of the map is the only part of the game that is completely optional. You do not have to go explore the area around High Castle. So, of course, we're going to do it just to be difficult. But we can't quite do it yet because, as if to persuade you this is not the right way to be going at this time, the minute that you walk through the travel area, you get attacked by 5 soldiers. And 5 soldiers is far more than we can handle in our current state. So we're going to head south toward Loriel. And you might remember that last time I said that you can actually follow the river around this way and avoid the bridge because the bridge is guarded. Well, we're going to go ahead and face the peril. Yeah, that one just appeared out of nowhere, didn't he? The enemy was waiting for them. And I forgot to turn the music down for this part, so I'll go ahead and leave the fight music up this time so you can enjoy the wonderful music. But don't expect me to say much because I can barely hear myself right now. Great remastery of the soundtrack, though. Okay, let's go ahead and try a flame cast. Ha! Down in one. And the music tracks in this good old games version don't seem to repeat ad nauseum. They just stop after a while. But yeah, there was Flame Cast, which is a nice little damage spell. The only problem is that it can be difficult to aim at long ranges. And hopefully you can have Owyn keep outrunning this guy. This one seems to be faster than the average fighter, though. Yeah, in fact, that has majorly dropped his health after that flame cast. And yeah, I think we might actually need to use some of our restorative at this point. Thankfully, he missed. Okay, let's work a little blinding spell on this guy to keep him from fighting us. Okay, thankfully these rations are not poisoned. Ah, jackpot here. Well, I take that back, and well, there should be room for it. Okay, well, I take that back. We won't cross over this bridge just yet because there is another group waiting there, and our inventory is well and full at this point. So we're going to take a quick side trip back to Yavin, which will seem quite quick now that we don't have to worry about ambushes, because enemies do not regenerate in this game. So once you clear an area in a chapter, you can progress through it quite quickly without having to worry about running into stuff. And here we are back in Yavin, quick as anything. Yeah, I forgot about the shop music, too. But I'll go ahead and let you listen to this, too, while I fix my stuff up. Nice little tune, that. We'll go ahead and give those to Owyn, since he's the most in need of something to keep him stealthy. Okay, so that has bumped us up to a full 120 sovereigns and 4 royals, which is not enough for us to get any of the better elven armor or one of the fancier swords. But it is enough for us to buy another whetstone. Actually, let's let Owyn haggle on that. And as long as we're here, yeah, worth a try. And I believe that just raised Goraf's smithing abilities a bit. Yeah, weapon craft and armor craft are now 51 and 54 respectively. Not too shabby. So, back the way we came. Yeah, I'm amazed at how blindingly fast we are now. Of course, I remember back in the good old days when this did not run quite so quickly, at least not on the computer I had at the time. And I can see it, but it won't let me click on it just yet. Their attack was unexpected. Eyes wide with surprise, the enemies scrambled around helplessly, not wanting to waste their momentary advantage. Locklear barked several quick orders, and the battle was joined. So since we have the advantage, let's see, both about equally hard to hit. Yeah, like I said, Flamecast can go wrong. Thankfully, they seem to be ignoring the magician, so yeah, I'll turn the music back off after this one, because as much as I do like the music in the game, does go a long way. Hey, Owyn got a hit in. Alright, let's see. We got 12 rations here, 9 rations here, 5 rations here. Alright, now with that done, got a little side road here that leads to a house. And actually this is the town of Loriel. No, we cannot get hair products here. But easily missed is a temple due north of the town. Incense swirled, strutting between the columns of the temple. Locklear made for the heavy wooden doors which had been sealed against the daylight, and which preserved the privacy of any ceremonies in progress. Pulling a tassel rope which hung along next to the door, he awaited the response of the door warden. Okay, I really do need to remember to turn the music off, but we'll go ahead and listen to the temple theme here. Okay, that's enough. Anyway, the meditation chamber was Spartan and strangely cold, seeming all the colder for the heatless flame which burned in the holy censer. The only bow that had been made to adornment in the temple appeared to be the strange pattern that was etched upon the wall. And, yeah, you note that this says teleport. The design was odd. I see the mandala interests you. Turning, Locklear noticed a thin young man standing in the archway, his hands hidden in the folds of his robe. While the relations between the temples and the new Academy of Magic at Starduck have been cool, it is one of the treasures they have passed on to the Surani magic. It has given us great mobility. Mobility? Locklear asked. How can a painting help you move? The acolyte smiled. It would be easier to explain by example. Tell me about a place you are familiar with, a place where you have spent a good deal of time. Locklear shrugged, describing the place that he had grown up, the layout of the rooms, the various things associated with his home. Very good, the man replied. As you describe those things to me, doubtlessly you also experience certain memories through which you're able to relive your past. In the same way, these mandalas help us to locate a place. By memorizing a pattern painted on the wall of a specific temple, we may will ourselves there. I could think my way home with this? No, the memory of your home would be too unfocused for you to make the attempt. But if you were able to memorize this pattern, you could return here by recalling its image in your mind when assisted with the power of another temple. Locklear looked back at the mandala, lost in thought for a moment, his eyes soaking up the intricacies of it. I assume there would be some fee associated with moving between locations. The acolyte nodded. As simple as it is in concept, it still requires a great deal of effort to move even a single individual, though I am told the Surani Great Ones move about with less effort. I believe Pug wished to restrict our knowledge of this in some ways until it had been proven we would not abuse its power. Yes, this actually is a direct reference to the books and how the Surani Great Ones, the magicians of the Surani culture, do have the ability to teleport at will. And while some of them do have magic devices that allow them to go to specific locations, they also have the ability to establish a pattern in their own homes or at certain key locations, such as the Assembly of Magicians, where they can teleport to it by focusing upon a pattern. And apparently in the reality of Betrayal at Krondor, Pug, the most powerful magician in Midkemia, who was kidnapped during the Rift War, taken to Kelowon, made a slave, discovered to have magical power, been trained by the assembly, and found out that he was particularly well suited toward the greater path of magic, as they call it, before returning home to Midkemia and beginning to try and teach the greater path at the academy at Starduck, which he established. But, yes. So, long story short, too late, we can teleport between temples as we explore and discover the temples. So, a bell sounded. Abruptly, a darkly robed priest swept into the room and came to a halt behind Locklear. I was alerted that you might desire to use the mandala. Desire, perhaps, but I haven't seen any of the other symbols, Locklear said. I don't suppose you could go with us. I am regret that I cannot assist you, the priest said. My duties require that I stay here to guide others that wish to arrive. I am sorry. So we can't teleport anywhere yet, and the fire was cold. Unnerved by the unnatural flame, Locklear decided to explore elsewhere. Well, we can enter the back temple. Locklear pulled the curtains aside. The rear section of the temple was as dramatic as was the meditation chamber. A large pool occupied the center of a lush courtyard and was hemmed in on all sides by an alabaster peristyle with climbing vines. Cloistered immediately off the open area were several arches, doorways either blocked by heavily woven curtains or choked with clouds of obscuring incense. Nearby a gong sounded, and immediately a priest hurried out of a doorway, halting as he caught sight of the unexpected supplicants. Well, we can get cured of sicknesses here, but we don't need to do that. We can get items blessed, but Ishap is not the best god for doing that. So let's talk. Acolytes escorted them. After passing through a maddening series of arches, they finally were led into a large chamber upon whose floor a seven-rayed star was formed in the mosaic by dark blue tiles. A small priest stood in the symbol's center, his back turned toward them. We are looking for the high priest of his temple, Locklear said. Would you know where we might find him? I am he. As the man half-turned, Locklear suppressed a gasp at the priest's hideous visage. Stuck to the left side of his face was a dark brown strip of cloth, a ragged hole torn in it, to allow a pinkish-looking eye to peer out through them. What is it you want? He wheezed, his frame shuddering with each breath. Are you new acolytes? No, Locklear swallowed with some difficulty. We are travelers. As all under the heavens are, the man said, making a feeble gesture at the vaulted ceiling above them. All travelers. Please, let us talk a while. When at last many of the candles in the chamber burned low, the priest nodded his head. I have enjoyed this, he said quietly. As have we, Locklear replied graciously, rising to leave. Oh, before I forget, where was this interesting statue that you mentioned? The oracle? In the hills to the east of Malak's Cross, the priest replied. Perhaps your journeys will take you there soon. Yeah, technically you don't need to go to Malak's Cross until Chapter 2, but as I said before, I plan to take the long way around to Krondor. And it is in fact night, so let's go ahead and rest. So yeah, some of the temples do offer side quests. Ishap doesn't. It just offers you the hint about going to the Oracle. Nobody in the house here. Nobody in the house here. The house's occupant was talkative. Careful not to divulge any details about their trip, Locklear steered the conversation toward the townspeople. Everyone here is fine folks, except for Michelle the healer. I hope you're not planning to visit her. Why? Locklear asked. She's a snake, he said. Told me I was going to die, but you know what? I got better. Well, I felt horrible enough for 3 or 4 days and thought I was going to die, but nope, I made it through alive, I'll tell you. I think she and Orno the Pale have some kind of deal. He's given them some kind of contagion, and she's administering some kind of phony medicine. It's indecent. Well, yes and no. There actually is a sickly man here who will give you a plague if you go into his home, and then the healer will heal you, but her rates for the healing actually are quite reasonable compared to the temple. The door opened slightly. Peering at them without opening the door all the way, a thin man rubbed the sleep from his eyes. I'm not looking for business right now. You have to come back later, he said. Business? Glancing out the side of the house, Locklear looked for a sign or a signal, but no was no evidence. What do you sell? I'm a gems dealer, Kiefer Ales cook, but I don't have anything in stock right now, he said with irritation. It's likely to be several weeks before I get anything in, so please go away. Before Locklear could say another word, Kiefer had closed the door. Yes, this is clearly a plot hook, but we can't deal anything with it yet because, well, we need to go to Lamut first. And how I thought about that, we might have progressed ahead a bit faster, but you know what? It's about the journey, not the destination. So here we have Kingdom Goods, another shop. The lay of the goods store was commonly familiar, arranged in such a common-sense fashion that it took only a few moments for Locklear to locate the items that interested him. Note, again, we have all of this arms and armor, but we can't actually sell certain items here, such as our fancy schmancy elven swords. But thankfully, we can sell this stuff just fine. And we can also pick up some rations for everybody. Alright, well, not much else here that we can get use out of, although having some rope could be handy eventually. And we don't need an ale cask, but more herbal packs might be useful. And, well, I could have probably gotten the book early on, but we don't really need this one just yet. Strategies of Trading. This one will boost your haggling skill. But we can come pick that one up if needed soon enough. Well, we've taken a little bit longer on this chapter than I intended, so I think we'll go ahead and call it here. But next time, we will continue onward south toward Hawks Hollow and start dealing with some of the quests that have been handed to us. We will see you next time.